So here we are again, and I would like to say this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a few months now. I uh I saw Asmongold and many other content creators talk about this, and I wanted to talk about it because me and Master Zen and Urban Ninja, especially my other friend, who watches my videos time to time, we had these conversations all the time about how great it was when we were younger, when we had these video games, and you know the level of just pure awesomeness that we had when it came to these video games. And regarding for me, the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 2 was my that was my childhood. That definitely was. I mean, the original PlayStation was as well. I did have the original PlayStation as a kid, but I remember more so of the PS2, and honestly, that's where my gaming really, like, came to be. It started out with the PS1 with the Game Boy and all this other stuff, but PS2, absolute perfection. And this guy named bizlychannel, he made this video called "When Video Games Were Simple," and I wanted to talk about it with you guys. So without further ado, let's just jump on into this. And as you can see, he starts out with this. Now, for those of you who do not know this sound, I want you guys to literally just listen. Okay? You hear that? You hear that? That is the sound of pure perfection. Pure perfection. That is the reason why I stuck with PlayStation. That's the main reason. That sound, oh my god. Along with the original PlayStation sound, yes. Yes.
Do you ever think back to when video games were just simple? When games could just be games and you could be an idiot 6-year-old who can't figure out how to get off the starting island in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
right.
you actually you gotta hit the tree to get the coconuts. The coconuts will fall down.
Hit it.
Bro, when I first played Kingdom Hearts, I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning of it, I didn't understand a lick of what the hell I was doing. But as time went on, I grew to master that game, and I played that game. I don't know how many goddamn times. I played it at least 20 times and beat it at least 20, at least like 15 to 20 times. I had a blast doing it, and I'll still play Kingdom Hearts. I will go right back to Kingdom Hearts and play that whole thing.
It feels like back then they could just make anything they wanted to. Studios took chances, building experiences that, while not perfect, were still iconic. And don't get it twisted, alright? I like the AAA games we're getting right now. I'm definitely not saying that video games aren't fun anymore. But I can't help looking back at all these older games and missing the charm that they all had, especially compared to now. They definitely weren't all fantastic, but when I look back at them, they all just seem so whimsical and wonderfully simple to me.
Like, no, seriously, like, okay, yeah, the 40p, like the 420, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't great, but the soundtrack and just the feel of it was worth it. Like, just the feel of it was worth it, man.
And sure, you know, that opinion is probably largely shaped around nostalgia, and it's more likely I miss the simpler times in my life, which we'll talk about nostalgia more towards the end of the video, but I do mean this literally. I adore the simplicity of the games from this era. When I talk about a time when video games were simple, I think a different time period probably comes to each of our heads, right? For you, it might be the PS1, or even the Atari if you're ancient and decaying. For me, I think of the PS2 and just all those classic games from that console. Like Kingdom Hearts, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Ratchet and Clank, the weird game with the alien face on the cover that kind of freaked me out too much to pick up. The hundreds of stupid licensed games that came out around this time that were all just exactly the same, except that one. I loved that one. When every game didn't have to...
Bro, listen, hold on, because he don't understand. He don't understand. Like, and I'm only gonna take like half of the games that I have for the PS2 Okay, he's not lying when he says this. Look at this. You see this? One of my most favorite, beloved wrestling games. This game. I talked about this before. I love this game. Freaking this. Like, and he was just talking about this. And then there's this. Like, come on now. Come on. Like, these games were great. Especially, I had a blast playing this. Like, just all of these games is just, I love it. I if you want to have fun, PS2, GameCube, hell, even the Xbox games, pure fun. Memories will be had, man. Memories will definitely be had.
To be a groundbreaking cinematic masterpiece, and it could just be a fun game. One aspect I really admire about those PS2 games is that they seem to prioritize gameplay and fun over anything. Whereas anymore it seems gameplay gets sidelined by the cutscenes in the story. The gaming industry has changed a lot over the years, okay? It's not your grandpa's GameCube anymore. We got esports teams and VR chat twerk-offs now. The Last of Us is a phenomenal game series that tells a familiar yet strikingly unique story and has some of the best character writing I've ever seen in a video game. Due to some not so careful redactions, we learned that on their latest entry, The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog spent—
To be honest, I'm not really a fan of The Last of Us. I know. Nail me on the cross. I'm not a real fan of The Last of Us, but I understand what he's saying. I definitely understand what he's saying.
$220 million over the course of 6 years to develop the game. To put that into perspective, they developed the first Crash Bandicoot game for $1.7 million. With that $220 million, they delivered on these stunning, cutting-edge graphics, as well as creating a gripping narrative and overall impactful experience. But when you play these games, it becomes abundantly clear that The Last of Us does not embrace its identity as a video game at all. The gameplay loop consists of you—
Listen, it's funny how he just said that, because that's exactly how I took from it. That's because it looks okay. The story, fine. They're literally showing you that you can put that on Netflix and you won't even have to touch the game per se. Because that's literally what it is. It's a Netflix thing. It's literally like a show. It's a show. But before it being a video game, I'm not interested. Like I said before, I would rather, and I'm being honest, I don't think I have it. That Hitman game, one of the Hitman games I would rather play. I'd rather play this. I'm just saying. Not saying that it probably not is a bad game. It probably ain't. I'm just not interested. I just wasn't interested in it.
Walking around slowly, looking at everything
Hell,
like you're in a
God of
museum.
War.
Maybe avoiding some mushroom zombies sometimes. And if you walk into an area with waist-height walls, you know some guys are gonna come out and try to shoot at you. The combat is passable at best, and over time just becomes a boring obstacle between you and the next cutscene. It really is a shame, you know, because the world they've built is so beautiful to look at,
right?
But there's nothing to touch. I'm all for story in a game, but it should never take precedent over the actual gameplay. And hey, I'm a problem solver, all right? I'm here to help you, Naughty Dog. I'm gonna tell you exactly what you have to do to fix this problem. You go through a couple of levels, you get us really hooked in, and then you give Ellie a fishtail and you have her swim around and sing a really bad song with Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
And the song's got to be really, really bad. Really, it's got to be horrible.
No, you're right. You can't do that, okay? It's a serious game with a serious tone. We don't need to do any of that. You know, no game has ever retained its serious tone while breaking immersion.
Him saying that, and he's literally showing Undertale, which is a game that has a serious tone, but is but it's one of the most beloved 2D games ever. One of the most beloved ones.
Slightly for the sake of fun. It's never been done. It's not going to happen. All right. Bad example. I'm sorry. Let's look at the Insomniac Spider-Man games instead. You know, they're wacky and less based in realism. They had a phenomenal story, except for the third act of the second game. I'm still pretty mad about that. Peter should have been Venom. I'm standing on that business. And the gameplay here. Oh my God. They got it perfect. They did it. They did what Naughty Dog couldn't do. Sometimes. I could web sling around the city all day, and they had their Little Mermaid moment with Venom and I guess Mary Jane now. That was all right. But what I want to talk to you about specifically are the mini games. You know, those little moments where it's like, oh, Peter's a scientist. Here's some scientist stuff. Match up these different colors and lines because he's a scientist. It's science stuff. Those have got to be the worst mini games ever made. And Insomniac knows it, because why else would they give you an option to skip them? It's all right, whatever. They didn't come up that much in the first one. I can get over it. At least I got to skip them and move on. Maybe they'll
see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they even had the option to skip the games. That's insane. Did they have the option to skip the Mary Jane quest? Because I didn't like those. I legit didn't like those. I'm playing a Spider-Man game. I want to keep playing as Spider-Man. I don't want to keep playing as some non-Spider-Man character.
Take him out by the second one. Wrong. It's different this time. Now it's in 3D and you got to take out the bad shapes. It's worse. It's somehow so much worse in this one. And I know it's a relatively small problem to point out, but man, just situations like this just make me miss games like Sly Cooper that would put you in a submarine and say, there's crabs coming to steal the treasure. You have to shoot all the crabs and make sure they don't come get it. They didn't bother trying to make it make sense within the story. They just made something fun.
Man, I remember I played SpongeBob SquarePants and Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Say what y'all will about SpongeBob. That was by far one of the most fun SpongeBob games I ever got to play. I loved that game. And I have to get a copy of it again. I don't know what happened to the one I had, but I have to get a copy of that game. I love that game. I legit love that game. That game was so fun, and the soundtrack to me was awesome. And then you got Sly Cooper, which is like another fun game. Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc. Yes.
Fun. I don't think every AAA game needs to be goofy, but I do think that video games are at their best when they embrace their identity as video games and deliver experiences only they can.
I mean,
it seems like they really went in this direction because these cinematic games have the most wide reach. They don't really want to risk it with something that might not appeal to everyone, right? We could never get an insane concept like Kingdom Hearts made today. The idea of taking these two insanely different franchises, Final Fantasy, a JRPG series, and the Disney multiverse, and mashing them together in some big...
No, for real, because how do you even do that? And that was the one thing why Kingdom Hearts blew up the way it did. The fact that we had Cloud arguing with the villain from Hercules, Hades. The fact that we are literally fighting freaking Jafar in an anime style? Dude. Like, come on, man. It was peak.
World-hopping adventure led by a character nobody's ever heard of. That is just not something we would get today. And do you know how this idea came to be? Well, apparently back in the 90s, Square Enix and Disney both had offices in the same building. And one fateful day, an employee from Square Enix and an employee from Disney just so happened to end up in the same elevator. And they got to talking and they were like, hello, Disney employee I just met. Wouldn't it be cool to mash up our universes together and then send some kid around them beating everything up with a key? And that, kids, is how Kingdom Hearts came to be. I read it on nextshark.com, so you know it's true. If there ever was a video game that embraced its identity,
that definitely is how it ended up being like that. Like, two executives in the same elevator. I thought I heard a different story where the elevator got stuck and they just got to talking, and then it just went from there. Like, that is where the creativity needs to come back. That kind of creativity, we need those people back. We need people who actually are that creative to come back, because it's literally showing that we have where they literally hire people from Tumblr with these stupid ideas, and the games are not fun. The game's literally not fun. It's all about an objective. It's all about a freaking like trying to point out a narrative. It's all about a narrative. It's all about an objective, a political objective, and we're sick of that. We're honestly sick of that. And the fact that some people, especially some black people, just refuse to see that is just a shame. It's just a literal shame.
Video game, it is goddamn Kingdom Hearts. This game makes no sense, but is so much fun. Why the hell is Cloud from Final Fantasy making a deal with Hades and fighting in the hero games on Olympus? I don't know, who cares? I'm Sora and I'm gonna hit this big dog with a key I found. When you travel between the different Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts, sometimes the art style, the character designs, and even entire gameplay mechanics will change based on where you go. I keep referencing the Little Mermaid level in Kingdom Hearts because genuinely, when I played this, it was so mind-blowing to me. I love that even at a point so deep into this game, they were still willing to change the fundamental mechanics of how you play it just to keep things fresh. And don't even get me started on the goddamn Gumi ship. I don't know if it's Gumi or Gummy. I've been saying Gumi. When I first played it, it was kind of annoying at first. I was thinking, why am I doing this?
No,
but now anymore,
when I first played that, I was like, am I supposed to be doing anything to this ship? But then, as like I said, as time went on, I got to really like try to, okay, well, how do I make my own ship? And then I started learning the like different shape, how to add one onto the other. And then, I made my Gummy ship to be by far the most badass looking ship ever. You could not touch me with that ship.
Traveling between the worlds and I'm up in the Gumi ship, I'm just shooting stuff. Why the hell do they need a spaceship to get between the Disney worlds? I don't know why they thought they needed a spaceship, but it was awesome. And it was the Gumi ship, and shut the fuck up. I'm not entirely sure if this is the case, but it really seems to me like when games were cheaper to make, studios were willing to make pretty much anything and they were willing to just listen. I was
it's crazy. It's honestly crazy that the little money that is spent, the more ideas it comes out, the more great ideas come out for a game. The less that is spent, the better the product will be. And that is actually insane, because what is going on? How does that work? Where for one game, $400 million and the game sucks, versus $1 or $2 million was spent and the game is supposed to be small, but it's absolutely beautiful with all of these great ideas and fun mechanics. How does that work? How does that coincide? What even went on? So what, you're telling me the ones with the most money are the boring ones, and the ones with the less money are actually the entertaining ones that we should be focused on? Is that what I'm seeing? Is that what the gaming industry is seeing? Clearly.
It up. I love sitting down crisscross applesauce on the floor of a GameStop, just going through the wall of so many different PS2 games, picking out insane shit like Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects.
When I tell you, the moment I get the chance to get that game again, I'm getting it again. Yo, me and my brother from another mother, shout out to him. He knows what I'm talking about. We played the absolute fuck out of that game. And yes, I played Spider-Man. Yo, in that game, he's going to explain it. In that game, you could pick up anything you fucking wanted and hurled it at the other motherfucker. You could take a lamppost and literally skewer the other person. You could take the explosives and just watch the dude just explode, get launched into the air. Don't get me started on the mid-air attacks. There was at one point I freaking caught my friend in mid-air because we was fighting each other. Caught my friend in mid-air and I power bombed him. And we was both like, how the fuck did you just do that? I don't know. I grabbed you and just pressed the button in there. Bro. Marvel Rise of the Imperfects is the next thing I need to get on my PlayStation list, because God forbid I have a PlayStation and I don't have that in my possession. Oh my Lord.
I feel like I dreamed this. Sure, they were goofy and didn't exactly maximize profit, but does that mean they weren't worth making? I guess where AAA's concerned, it's just always going to be about the money. And if you want a passionate game developer, you look to the indie games. There's got to be some video.
Facts. And that's the reason why people are turning away from AAA games. That is the exact reason. And especially this year. And it's crazy how this video is a year old, and what he is saying is still merit. It's still holding true to what is going on. It is still holding true. Freaking Expedition 33, Power World, Black Myth Wukong, these games proved that we shouldn't be putting our money, time, and effort into literal games that are telling you to shut the fuck up and just buy their game. We don't care about your opinions. Just shut up and just find a way to buy the game or whatever the hell else we give you. Versus, on the other side, do whatever you want. We are here for you. Thank you for purchasing our game. Thank you for even considering wanting to play our game. Those people should always get our money. The people who are demanding shit and are trying to make it seem like we're the ones in the wrong, they shouldn't get our money, time, or any kind of attention. They shouldn't have it. They shouldn't get none of that. Legit. They should not at all. I'm sorry. When you disrespect your customer, you already invalidate anybody from opening their wallet to you. And this goes for any establishment, industry, whether you're selling a product or whatever. The moment you disrespect your customer is the day you've basically just said, oh, well, I don't care about you. You got the audacity to say that the customers are being mean and everything like that. Look, there are some cases where the customer is being outlandish. I'm not going to disagree with that. I worked in retail. There have been plenty of customers that made it seem like I was beneath them because I was working in this retail job. But when it comes to this, you're asking to go out of business. Just saying.
Video essay YouTuber to indie game pipeline, because I was never really that into indie games, but recently I played Hades and Rollerdrome, and it was some of the most fun I've had playing games in a long time. While it seems the games that prioritize fun overall are only coming from indie developers anymore, there is a genre of game that was lost to time completely, and that, my friends, is the shitty licensed games. This has got to be the greatest loss in my lifetimes. Those shitty early 2000s movie tie-in licensed games that came with every...
Bro, I need you to understand, as God is my witness, I have to get me at least one Family Guy game. At least one where I am Peter Griffin and I'm beating the hell out of motherfuckers. I need to get that game.
Mildly successful property. If there was a cartoon you liked in the early 2000s, tie-in game. If there was a movie you kind of enjoyed, tie-in game. Look up any franchise that had moderate success in this time period and add the game at the end, and you're probably gonna get something.
Yup.
It would be
Yo, he's
impossible
right.
to
He's
count
right.
how many there were, and they were all bad.
Listen.
But I loved them anyway. Like the
Hey, listen. Say they were bad all you want. A lot of those games in the hood, we had a blast with them games. I need you to understand, okay? There's a reason why people were still to this day talking about which one was it? Freaking one of the Nickelodeon games outside of SpongeBob. There's a reason. There's a reason why. Okay? Not only was it memorable, it was fun. It may have been terrible in some cases, but it was fun as fuck.
Cat in the Hat movie tie-in game? What a beautiful nightmare that was. Give me a bottle of Dayquil and the Cat in the Hat PS2 game, and I'm having a great week. If you've ever played one of these games before, you've probably seen this little intro screen.
Yep, THQ. THQ.
THQ was responsible for not all, but a lot of these tie-in games. It seemed their business model was to buy up the license for a mildly successful property, pump out a cheap, easy game, and launch it right when that movie or TV show was peaking in popularity so that they could feed off of that hype. And clearly it worked, because in the span of a couple of years, they released literal hundreds of games.
I'm gonna need at least one Scooby-Doo game. I want to get the Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase game. I need at least one of them games. I need one of the games that from DreamWorks, either a Shrek game or like a maybe a Kung Fu Panda game. See how that favors me. It's one of them games that I heard was really fun to play, but I forgot which one of them was it.
They hit the cartoons hard. They got Jimmy Neutron, Scooby-Doo, so much SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Tack and the Mother-Fudging Power of Juju. This one.
Right here. Right here, Yep, right here. Right here. Yup.
One was a banger. Rugrats, Teen Titans, Barnyard, Danny Phantom, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Seriously, so much SpongeBob. And they hit the movies too. Cars, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up. They had Star Wars under their belt, and Episode 3 was a slapper. These guys dominated the licensed tie-in games, and eventually they just stopped. I was looking around the internet trying to figure out why they stopped. You know, where did these go? And everything I found kind of suggested that they didn't stop making them, but they moved over to the more profitable sector of the video game market, the mobile games.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No. And you know what? They were probably right to do so. Even I ended up spending money in Family Guy: The Quest for Stuff. I wanted to build my Quahog to look cool.
Holy fuck.
There were a lot of these games, and most of them were bad. But for every 100 shitty cookie-cutter games, there was one gem. Odds are, if you had a PS2, you probably played The Simpsons Hit and Run, which by all means should have just been another shitty tie-in in the series of shitty tie-ins. But this one just so happened to be amazing.
Oh no! And then I come to find out that there was supposed to be a whole line of these kind of hit and run games from The Simpsons, and the creator just said, "Well, we had, plans for it, but it got scrapped." My heart immediately broke. I need you to understand. I need y'all to understand. My heart immediately broke. I'm like, what?
It was a GTA clone that was like better than GTA. In fact, it did the multiple characters, the character switching before GTA 5 did it. That means The Simpsons predicted GTA 5. It is time to write another Kotaku article. Some of my personal favorites were The Matrix: Path of Neo. I don't know why I liked this. I'd never seen The Matrix. I just really was drawn to this game.
You never saw The Matrix, but he played the game? How do you get that? That's a sin. That is a crime, dude. You have to watch The Matrix at least. Come on, man.
Insane. I don't know how to describe it. I loved the Star Wars Episode 3 tie-in game because it had this cool alternate ending, and I was obsessed with this fight on Mustafar between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and so being able to do that and get a different result just like blew my little mind. And obviously, Spider-Man 2. I think a lot of people forget.
Bro, another game that I need to get on my list. The movie Spider-Man and the movie Spider-Man 2. Those games, dude, a time was had. I'ma just say that now. A time was had. Y'all thought Spider-Man PS4 was fun. This shit, that's the reason why. That and Web of Shadows. Bro, Web of Shadows. Ultimate Spider-Man? Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
This was a movie tie-in game. And even this one had great minigames. The most iconic minigame where you go around delivering pizzas with that insane music playing. Why couldn't we get that in Insomniac Spider-Man instead of Match the Shapes and Colors?
Facts.
A licensed tie-in game that a lot of people liked was SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. And I know a lot of people like this one because it got a big fat remake. We've established that the game studios are in this for the money, right? And it's safe to assume that they want the safest bets for their money. The most revenue with the least risk. No brainer. Why don't they just take things people already like and do it again? But like make it pretty. Personally, I think this aversion to risk is absolutely doing damage to the industry, but what do I know? I'm just a guy, and clearly the numbers say otherwise. But I think in all of this, the consumer is not blameless. It is me. I'm the consumer. They're only gonna do something if they know we're gonna buy it. And
right.
Oh man, am I gonna buy it? I've been loving the remakes lately, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really think we needed 5 iterations of the 2 Last of Us games, but for example, like Resident Evil 4 remake or the Dead Space remake, or some of my favorite games in 2023. They may have been remakes, yes, rehashing old ideas, but I felt like in those 2 examples specifically, they expanded the gameplay systems and made changes that honestly justified a remake. In Dead Space alone, the zero gravity overhaul was game-changing, as well as a voice protagonist where there wasn't one before. So they're not just throwing stuff out, you know, they actually do seem to care about some of these games. The Resident Evil 4 remake was a breath of fresh air for me because I got the quality of life from a AAA game, but the goofy, campy fun from a PS2 game. The graphics were stunning and the gameplay was tight and well optimized, and I also got to go up to the shady weapons dealer and buy a rocket launcher to just shoot the final boss with. I just cheesed the entire fight, and the game let me because it was more fun that way. The simplicity that I had been missing was right there, and
if you're able to do it in the game without the microtransactions, that's how you know the game is fun. If you're able to do something in the game without the need to pay for anymore, off your own credit card, that's how you know the game is fun. That's how you know.
Loved every second of it. To me, this trend of remakes is proof that I'm not alone in missing a time when video games were simple. And it's also proof that nostalgia can and will be weaponized at any moment possible, and memories are only good if they are profitable. I am happy that younger generations, and just more people in general, get to experience these games that I loved as a kid and see why for themselves. And also I'm happy that we get to experience these games in ultra-realistic graphics, 4K huevos shrinking technology. Only playable with the Gigafart 8500 graphics card. You don't need to upgrade your PC to play this game. I can appreciate good graphics. I mean, I really like when a game looks pretty, but I think this looks better than this. And this
I agree.
looks better than this. Technically,
agree.
This has higher resolution and better lighting.
I can
but
agree.
This has a better art.
Way more art. Better art style. Its own unique art style. Bro, listen. This Ultimate Spider-Man hasn't even been replicated yet. Because they keep going for the realistic. A lot of these game devs want to make stuff so real, so bad. But the thing that got us hooked, the thing that really had, people buying stuff was art, the art style, the animation, the cartoony art style. That's what people love. Is there a love for the realistic stuff? Yeah, sure. But not as much as this. Y'all can't tell me that's not the case.
Art direction. High resolution textures and pretty lighting are always going to be outshined by inspired art direction, creativity, and a focus on atmosphere. This isn't something that's gone from modern gaming. In fact, a lot of recent games have left my jaw on the floor because they're so beautiful. Bloodborne, and Bloodborne. Holy shit, Bloodborne. But I think it was more common to focus on art direction back then because they were limited. They couldn't make a realistic looking game. They had to do something unique. Even the games shooting for a realistic approach could not pull off realism. I mean, that is not realism, but still, it's iconic. A phrase I really like and I've used before in one of these videos is that limitation breeds creativity. Trying to make a game back on the PS2, I imagine, was extremely limiting, but it made them so creative, making these incredibly unique looking games. I often find that when creating something and you run into a problem, that solution that you come up with to the problem leads to an infinitely more interesting and unique final product. Like I said, we still get a lot of stunning games coming out lately, but I feel like now with the ability to actually create games that, while not perfectly realistic, look pretty damn real, that becomes the only focus, is making a game that looks realistic, not one that is creative in its...
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not a fan of realistic video games. I already live... Why do I want things realistic all the time? I live in reality. I don't need things to be realistic. I need them to be fun. I need them to be cozy and fun. Like, y'all, so some game developers just don't understand. There's a reason why people love Borderlands. There's a reason why people love Kingdom Hearts. There's a reason why people love SpongeBob. There's a reason why people love Sly Cooper. There's a reason why people still love Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Because it was fun. It had that feel. If you have that feel, you got us. If you don't have that feel like that, we're not gonna stay. Sure, we'll be around, but we're not gonna stay. And that's just the facts of it.
It's visuals. In a lot of ways, I miss those older games that we used to get, but I'm also glad for all the games that we get now. Like Ghost of Tsushima is one of my favorite games of all time, and Baldur's Gate 3, which I made an entire video on, you should go watch it, was a phenomenal experience. Compare that to the PS2 Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, and it's no contest there. The only reason I might want to pick up and play Dark Alliance 2 is because I miss playing it with my dad when I was a kid. I used to live in this big greenhouse right on the corner lot and had a baseball field right across the street. I think the house used to be a church. It was definitely haunted. I was 8 years old when that house caught fire. I remember I was watching SpongeBob and I walked into the kitchen and I saw these crazy flames up all over the place. Long story short, the house got completely ruined and my dad got hurt pretty bad. But he recovered fine. They just took some skin from his butt and put it on his hand. I call it his butt hand. This house though was mostly ruined and the property had a separate garage, like a barn kind of thing. And that garage had an attic. Well, my dad decided that we were gonna fix up the house ourselves and live up in that attic. Him and I shared this airbed up there, and right next to it was a projector that I had hooked up my PlayStation 2 and my original Xbox to. During the day, I'd obviously go to school, and then when I got home, I'd help him build however I could. You know, there wasn't much I could do. I was 8, but I remember doing things like helping him put up the ceiling or chip away at the old stone slate in the fireplace. And when we were done for the day, I would go up and play on that PS2 non-stop. Not to get into too much detail, I'm just some guy on the internet. You don't know me. But I was having a hard time. Something about swinging around the city in Spider-Man 2 just made it all melt away.
No, for real. Bruh, during the days where I had school, me and my friend, my brother from another mother, he brought to my house that game, Spider-Man 2, the movie Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 movie game. When I tell you he spent hours web swinging just around the city, just doing shit, he did that. We played that game nonstop. And at the time, I wasn't really good at Spider-Man games. He was. Those are the times that we're talking about. Those are the times that made us feel really good. Like, yeah, shit happens. But those games, they definitely hit a mark. They definitely did. It isn't just about nostalgia. That feeling of like I can sit down and actually be okay with just spending my day playing this, that's what we want back. That's what a lot of us want back.
You know, I wasn't Zach with all this stress and all these problems I didn't understand. I was Spider-Man. I can only imagine how my dad felt at the time, but he always seemed happy when him and I were playing a video game together. He was just watching me play one, but we had a ton of fun and we would just laugh and hang out together playing Halo 2 on the Xbox, just going through the campaign. And it was in moments like that where it really felt like everything melted away. It didn't feel like we had just lost everything. You know, it felt like we had everything that we could ever need. And it's funny, now sometimes just hearing that PS2 sound, I'm back up in the attic with my dad. Nostalgia is a funny thing that can make you look back fondly on things that might not have been so great, but were somehow perfect in their own way. And escapism through simple pleasures like video games will always be important. I think we all have that game, or just media in general, that was able to give us a break from a hard time in our lives and made us hold on to that experience forever. And so now we judge that media by what it did for us rather than what it actually is. I'd love to hear if there was anything like that that stuck with you, you know, either in a comment or send it to my email at this point. I don't care. I can't promise I'll get back to you, but if you want to, shoot me an email. I might see it. Thank you so much for over 100,000 subscribers. Geek really likes the plaque, so that's good. We send it off to him. He's the real hero here. 100K is crazy. You know, I started another channel a while ago and it took me so long. I was trying so hard to get to 100K. And with this one, I wasn't even trying. I just kind of did it. I mean, we did it, I guess. I don't know. That shit's cool. This is a cool thing to do. This is my simple pleasure now. So please simply click the card right here.
Yeah. So shout out to you, man. Thank you, bizlychannel, for making that video. I'm glad that I made this video because, especially given what is going on with Nintendo, what is going on with a lot of these gaming developers and industries right now, these gaming companies right now, we need fun games now more than ever. Not everybody's doing so hot. Not everybody has the best days. Not everybody is, you know, content with what's going on right now. And I said this before. Game developers, y'all gotta straighten this out. Because a lot of us have absolutely no problem. And it's not a threat. We have absolutely no problem picking up a PS2, a GameCube, a regular PlayStation, PS3 even, an old Xbox, an SNES, what have you. We have no problem picking up these old consoles and going to buy the game that made us feel good about living another day. We have no problem doing that. Like I said before, I'm going back to play the games that I couldn't play as much when I was a kid. I don't need to play any of the current games when I have an entire library of games that I have not even touched yet, that I haven't even experienced yet. And honestly, that ain't nothing but my own fault. But these games are here and they're not going nowhere. So, yeah, it's high time for that to change. I miss those days where we had the THQ games because, call for what you will, a lot of those games were fun. I mean, sure, YouTubers can make jokes about it and critique it all day long, but guess what? At the end of the day, outside of this freaking platform, somebody's playing and having the time of their motherfucking life. Call for what you will. With that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys for watching this. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go support bizlychannel. Yeah, like his videos, subscribe to his channel. And yeah, that's it. With that being said, this has been Master of Sakurai. I'll see y'all again next time. And look forward to Monday. I got a surprise for y'all Monday. For those of you who subscribed and watch my content, I got a surprise for y'all Monday. Hopefully at like 10 or 11 o'clock a.m. Got a surprise for y'all. But yeah, stay tuned. Peace.